Blog Talk Radio.
We are the Knights of Awakening.
Hello, good morning and evening. We are the Knights of Awakening, broadcasting from our corner of the universe to yours. I am your host, Knight Justin, reaching out to all of you, our brothers and sisters, wherever you may call home. Welcome to the Knights of Awakening. I am your host, Knight Justin, and I'm coming to you live from the foothills of the beautiful Rocky Mountains. In today's show, I'm going to give you a few updates on the KOA. And we're going to be talking about the Road to Recovery and New Beginnings, the series that's running on YouTube currently. We're going to talk with Derek Thompson from the Ashla Knights. We're going to be talking with Alethea Thompson. No relation there, by the way. They just happen to have the same last name. About her new project and what she's working on. And we're going to catch up a little bit later with Charles McBride, former host of The Labyrinth. And he's going to talk to us about the new project he's been working on. So just a few KOA news item. We're still looking for community works out there from you guys. We really want to aggressively reach out to the other groups and communities out there. We want to share ideas with you. We want to help you share your work and the stuff you're doing out there for everyone. And it's really easy to do. Just hit us up. There's a million ways you can get in contact with us. Back in the day, we used to do a show called Community Chat. And it was really popular, and it was really fun to do because what we did was we would get people from other groups, other communities. We'd get them on the air, and we would give them, an hour or two to talk about what they do. We give them time to talk about their academies or their membership, whatever, what have you. And it's not limited to Jedi or anything else. If you're a part of a like-minded group, we would love to get you on and share your message with the world. So we're going to start off today talking about the state of the KOA. And as you guys know, you've seen, those of you who have been following us, you see that we're in a phase of rebuilding. And the key to that is starting from the ground up. We want to start from the beginning. We don't want to forget where we came from. But at the same time, there are some things that we're going to do differently than we did before. We want to make sure that we're providing consistent and thoughtful content as much as we can. We want to make sure that we're interacting with all of you as often as we can. And like I said, we want to take stuff we did well in the past, we're going to do that and run with it, but we also want to build upon that. Because let's be honest, there were some things that we should have done back then that we didn't. And without dwelling on that, we're just going to say, well, we didn't do that well. We're not going to do that again. We're going to start from here and move on. And of course, I would like to see the KOA breaking new ground as we did back then, because, well, it was a lot of fun. What's up with the website? Well, like you guys have heard in the some of the other videos that I posted on YouTube, the website isn't the biggest priority for us, and I haven't seen a lot of people actually saying, hey, where's the website? Where's the website? Where's the website? At this point, I think we're fine using the social media, using Blog+Talk+Radio as we are today. The website will come once mainly because we're partnering with another group, the Order of Ashla Knights, and share some web space with them. So as soon as they get to a point where, we can actually put our stuff on there, then we'll do that. But like I said, it's not a real priority for me getting the content out daily, producing new content, working with our partners. That's the most important thing for me at this point. So a lot of folks want to know who is involved with the Knights of Awakening currently. And directly, myself, Alethea, Allie, Derek Thompson, and indirectly, our good friend Charles McBride has been helping us with some technical advice and also advice on just about everything. If you guys know Charles, he's a good guy to go to for just about anything that you need help with, or if he doesn't know, he'll figure it out. So that's who's currently involved behind the scenes with the KOA. I know you guys have seen Allie's work out there. Pretty soon you'll start seeing Ashla Knights work out there. And as we add more hosts and add more projects and things, of course, you guys will be the second to know. Of course, I'll be the first to know. You'll be the second to know. So live shows. We're doing a live show right now. It was kind of on the cuff because there's some scheduling issues that we'll get into here in a second. And I don't like doing things on the cuff. I like having things planned and scheduled. It just works better for home life and stuff like that. But given that I'm at the point of my recovery from my accident, that I'm about to go back to work here pretty soon. I don't know how that's going to look. I don't know what that schedule is going to look like. And like I said, it kind of bugs me because I can't say, this day and this day every week or whatever. So just hang with me. I'm going to do my best to get live shows out there as consistently as I can. We always will have, for the foreseeable future, we'll always be uploading stuff to the pages, short videos to the YouTube page, stuff like that, at least twice a week, as we have been on Mondays and Wednesdays. And I want to get to a point where we have live shows like this on a consistent basis. However, I don't know how that's going to look right now. And once we get some of our other hosts to a point where they're ready to do live shows too, of course, we'll share those with you. But, like I said, bear with me because we're going to do the best we can to get these out as consistently as possible. But I know you guys understand, so I'll stop harping on that. So as I said, the uploads will hit on Mondays and Wednesdays as planned. It might not always be the same kind of content, but that's okay. We'll mix it up and keep it fresh for you. For the week of April 1st, which is next week, the uploads will hit a schedule, but I just want to let you guys know that I'll be out of town for about a week. So if you hit me up and I don't get back to you right away, that's why. It's because I'm not anywhere near my computer, and I'll be working from my phone as much as I can, but we'll get the uploads out there. If you need to get a hold of somebody right away, Alethea Thompson would be the best choice to catch if you can't catch me, because she helps me run the pages and stuff like that. So let's check and see who's with us today. I don't know if you guys know. If you guys are new to Blog Talk Radio, there is a way to chat, and I forgot to open it, so I'm going to open it real quick. Let's see who we got going on in here. So as I said, we're going to be talking with Derek today, Allie, and Charles about the projects that they're working on. And we'll probably talk to them a little bit about what they did for us in the past and what and what they're going to be working on going into the future. Unfortunately, Derek couldn't make it today, so I did an interview with Derek Thompson of Ashla Knights last night, and we're going to go ahead and play that here in a few minutes. Bear with me, guys. I'm still getting used to the old switchboards and things like this, going back and forth. All right, so we're going to go ahead and play the interview that I had with Derek Thompson, and we'll go ahead and get that going. All right, everybody. I have with me Derek Thompson of the Order of Ashla Knights. Hey, Derek.
Hey, Justin. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So I wanted to give Derek some time on the air today to give everyone an update on Ashla Knights. So without further ado, Derek, take it away.
Well, First off, I want to thank you for having us on the show. I am really excited about the new permeation of Knights+Of+Awakening in the Blog+Talk+Radio construct. We were always excited about it when it was thriving some time ago, and we're just as excited about it coming back and hopefully seeing new life with different topics, different subjects, and maybe hopefully a whole new set of hosts. So we're very excited about that. I'm very excited about that, I should say. But a quick update with Ashla Knights. Ashla Knights is still up and running. It's a sister website, the Dayuine Sith, which is a dark side website. That's up and running. Both sites are there. I am currently playing with the idea of updating the Ashla Knights sites just to make it a little bit more, I don't know, like maybe a little easier for people to kind of navigate, add some more platforms and features, things of that nature. So we're currently exploring those opportunities. The Order of the Dayuine Sith, that site is up and running. It's being populated. It's sparsely populated with topics and teachings, which is done on purpose. We don't want to load it up with too much information and too much material. We want it to be more organic as opposed to making it just like a dumping ground for wayward topics and obtuse interactions and discussions. So what you have there on that site now is very good material. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on it. Both sites are active but quiet. So, and that's where we want it to be right now as we're trying to revamp both, Ashla Knights anyway. Dayuine Sith, we kind of want that to be a little quieter than some of those other dark side sites that are out there. But, yeah, that's basically where we're at with Ashla Knights.
So without getting into too many details, what kind of changes will people see? I mean, are you talking major changes or just little?
No. Well, actually, I don't know how people will take this. We like the look of the website. It's clean, it's easy, it's accessible, it's not too difficult to move around, and we also like having multiple platforms, multiple standalone platforms coded in, as opposed to like maybe a content management system that has all of these platforms already built in. It's one username. The problem with that is if one part goes down, the whole site goes down. Whereas with our site, if it's different platforms, if you have a problem with one, you can just take that offline, work on that one, and the site stays up, and people can just use other aspects of the website. So we do like that. We do like that type of functionality, so we're going to try to stay with that. But we are going back to our Jedi roots. We are going to take our academy. We're not going to take it down. We're actually going to fuse our current material in with our old material. So it's going to be a lot more comprehensive as far as Jedi teaching goes, but that's a major, major change. As of now, the academy material that's up will stay up. This is going to be a major undertaking. It's going to take a little while to do that, but that's going to be ultimately where we want our academy to finally arrive at. Other changes, we're going to put in, different platforms like a live chat, maybe a video picture gallery for members. The blogging system, the journal system is still up and running. We'll probably revamp that a little bit, just kind of update that. And, a little bit more material, such as downloadable screensavers, maybe some desktop pictures, things of that nature. So as of right now, our biggest change is going to be updating the site itself, and then the second major change is going to be our online academy. It's going to go back to the Jedi. It's going to go back to its Jedi inception, while being like the new academy and the old academy material will fuse together to create one super academy. So that's where we're at with that.
And full disclosure here, I am one of the council members at Ashla Knights, and I went through the old academy, and I read through the new academy, and I like the old academy better. Maybe I'm just nostalgic that way. Yeah. But I really look forward to seeing how you're going to fuse them together. I guess the only question left for you, you used to have a show with the Knights of Awakening, and it was very popular. People loved calling in. Your show had probably the biggest participation on average with people calling in and helping you with the discussion. Can we look forward to seeing Ashla Knights back on the air eventually? Yeah,
absolutely. I want nothing more to come back and do a show, actually participate in a few shows that are hosted by other people and participate in their conversations. There's nothing more that I would love. I would love, like I said, this is a labor of love. It's not an easy thing. We're dealing with complex technical things here, websites and online dashboards for radio shows and, all these different types of things. So it's almost like pulling the boxes out of the attic, opening them up, pulling out the newspaper, and pulling these pieces out and putting them back together and finding a new way to use them, a similar but new way to use them. And that's not something that you want to just rush into. So I understand, and basically in short that means, you're setting this up again. It's a whole new, it's a new heartbeat, and it's like, okay, how is this thing gonna pump? How is this thing gonna, what does the beat sound like? You got to find your rhythm again, and that doesn't mean that it's just the radio aspect. It's the website. It's the interaction. It's the social media. It's a whole bunch of things, and it all, like back then, we had all that. We had all that, and we have to breathe life back into that. So this is, I understand. I would love to be on the radio this weekend, but I understand that's not how this is going to work. We need to go step by step and just, go through the process, get it back, get this thing breathing again, and then I'll be there. Right? I'm here now. So whenever this thing is ready, I would love to have an Ashla Knights radio show, get back into some time. Just listen, it's been, a year? A little over a year or 2 years? What's it been, Justin?
Yeah, going on probably closer to 2 years, if not a little longer.
A lot of things have happened in the world. There's a lot of things to talk about. I mean, so much has gone on. So much has gone on just in this country with our current president, not to mention what's going to be happening with these, this new possibility of, is it going to be this one or is it going to be that one? You know what I mean? It's just going to be a whole different world, not to mention some of the things that have gone on in the last couple of years. So there's a lot of things to talk about. We have new Star Wars movies. I mean, this is a topic-rich environment right now. There is no reason why we shouldn't be doing what we're doing, and it's the perfect time to do it. So yeah. To answer your question, if you'll have us, which it clearly sounds like you will, I can't wait to get started. I cannot wait to get back in there. And this time around, like I said, it's not just going to be Blog Talk Radio. It's going to be the websites and the Blog Talk Radio and the newsletters and the social media. It's going to be a massive light side, just a huge blinding blitz of Knights of Awakening and Ashla Knights. It's going to be awesome, baby. It's just going to be amazing. So,
Well, there you have it from the man himself, Derek Thompson, Master Derek Thompson from the Order of Ashla Knights. I want to thank you for giving us some of your time, and I certainly look forward to you getting back on the air on a regular basis at some point. And I really can't wait to put on my Ashla Knights uniform with my Jedi robe and go toe-to-toe with the Great One.
Me too. I can't wait. One day, one of these days. Yep.
And if you guys out there want to see pictures of me in my Ashla Knights uniform with my robe, give the video a like. When this thing hits YouTube, give the video a like, and I will post pictures of me in that uniform, in my robe. Probably sitting down because I still can't stand up, but that's the best I can do. So, all right. Well, thanks again. I really do appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing what you have coming up.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
All right. That was Derek Thompson from the Order of Ashla Knights giving us an update. One little thing about that. There's a running joke amongst us friends that everything's always coming soon, and we always tease Derek about the academy coming soon and this and that. But there's one thing that we joke with him about a lot, and it's kind of half joking and half serious. But there was a program that Derek started to build a while back. I'm not even going to try to guess how long ago. And it was called Ashla Saber Flow. And last night when we were recording this for his appearance today, I threw that question at him. I asked him straight up about Ashla Saber Flow, and he gave me an answer. He was very willing to answer it. We don't have time to listen to that live today. However, after the show, when I post this up to YouTube, I will include that interview, that part of the interview, in that clip or in that video. So if you guys want to check out the burning question about Saber Flow coming soon, head over to our YouTube channel and it'll be there. I'm not sure if it'll be just kind of a standalone video or if I'll include it into the file, but I'll let you guys know once we post that up. So, but I know Charles is out there probably laughing right now because I know he's listening, and that's kind of, and I know when Derek hears this, he's going to laugh too, but coming soon. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Road to Recovery and the 4 parts of that we have currently at in the series. So for the next half hour, we're going to be talking about a new series that we have going up over at YouTube, and it's called The Road to Recovery, New Beginnings. If you're not familiar with our YouTube channel, just head over to youtube.com/C/Knights+Of+Awakening. And not only will you see videos for the Road to Recovery, but you also see a few videos from Ashla Knights currently and Allie's new project, Let's Regroup, which we'll bring her in the second hour and let her talk to us about that. I don't want to spoil that for her. So currently we're up to part 4, and then now we're at a break in the series. And the biggest reason for the break, of course, is because my recovery has caught up to the series. Well, other way around. The series has caught up to my recovery. And that happened because I wasn't even able to get up for about a month after the incident, after the accident and surgery and stuff. And it took me about a month to where I could get up and around and sit for longer than a few minutes at a time. Not to mention all the pain that I was dealing with. And I don't think you guys want me writing stuff high on painkillers. I'm not even sure what they are, but painkillers. I don't know if I want to read anything that I write after I'm high on painkillers. And sometimes it's bizarre enough when I'm sober. So, but anyways, we're currently at a break in the series, so I want to take a few minutes to kind of catch everybody else up where we're at with that. And I guess the only place to start is to tell you what happened. Well, I was at work, and just a normal day, taking care of my duties and my task, and I had stopped off to get some fuel for my car and grab some lunch for later. And at the time, it was about maybe 2 or 3 days after we had a really big snowstorm out here in Colorado. And the place I work is kind of up in the mountains a little bit. So it was still kind of slippery, but all the snow and everything had been removed. I didn't think it was a problem. I mean, I do a lot of a lot of foot patrol as well. So I do a lot of hiking, and I've walked on this stuff a million times. And those of you who live in places where there's a lot of ice and snow during the winter, we all fall down all the time. It's not a big deal. You hit your butt, you dust yourself off, and everything's fine. Well, I'm walking back to my car from grabbing my lunch, and I hit a patch of black ice, and instead of just falling down, my patrol boots did their job in the wrong way. They tried to grip when they couldn't grip, and my left foot ended up turning all the way to my right. And so basically the toes of my left foot were staring at the side of my right foot. So I put myself on the floor. I put my foot back into place because honestly it was freaking me out. It was really gross. And I kind of mentally made my foot, I used my muscles and made my foot go back to where it was supposed to be, which was probably, well, we won't talk about whether it's the greatest thing in the world or not to do. It is what it is. That's what happened. So I dragged myself over to, and of course there was a lot of popping and cracking and stuff. And just to premise this with the fact that I've never broken a bone. I've always been, I guess, lucky. I've never broken a bone. I've fallen down and been hurt, and I've been stabbed and shot at and stuff like that. But I've never broken a bone, so I wasn't really sure what happened. Of course, I twisted my ankles a few times in my life. I played a lot of sports when I was younger. So, I thought maybe that I had just twisted it really bad, like just sprained it really bad, mainly because I didn't want to know, I guess. I didn't want to know if I had broken it because I didn't know what to expect from that. I've never, like I said, never broken a bone. So I dragged myself over to my car because I was in the middle of a parking lot and I want to get ran over. And I dragged myself to my car, and all these folks come running over. And the thing I remember the most is that there was like, I don't know, maybe 20 people standing around me. And they're asking me, what should we do? What should we do? And I said, well, you can call, one of you go to my car and get on the radio and just radio for help. My partner will come over here. Just tell them where you're at. And I told another person, just call 911, give me an ambulance so I can at least get checked out. Because at this point, I'm still thinking, nah, no big deal, dude. Don't worry about it. You just sprained your ankle. We'll go home and throw some ice on it. Maybe a week later, you'll be fine. You'll be running marathons again and stuff. So, but the funny thing was, as I'm laying there, all these other people. So I have one person on the radio trying to figure out how to work it, and I'm trying to explain to them how to work it. I have one person on the phone trying to figure out what to tell the operator. And then before I know it, I have like 10 jackets like piled on top of me. And I don't know why that's funny. It just seemed like the thing to do. They just wanted to cover me with blankets. And I'm already wearing a ballistic vest, which, keeps me kind of warm. And I have my uniform on, and I have my jacket on already. And on top of me, I have like these 10 jackets that are just like stacked up, and they're just falling all over the place. I don't know why I thought that was funny. It's just, I guess at the time it just seemed like the thing to do because it was kind of cold outside. And as we get into the second part of the series, gratitude, this will make a little more sense. So here these people are, and the only thing they could think to do, I've already given 2 other people something to do, and all the other folks, the only thing they could think to do is take their jackets off. Now, mind you, it's like 20-something degrees outside. And these folks are taking their jackets off and piling them on top of me to keep me warm, or I guess they were afraid that I was going to go into shock or something. But I thought that was the funniest. When I look back, I always think that's the funniest part, and that's the part I tell people, like my friends and family, who ask me. I always say, man, I had like 10 jackets on me. And I couldn't even move. Like, there were so many damn jackets on me, like I couldn't even barely move at this point. And, it's bad enough I couldn't move already. And I remember telling them, I'm good, thank you. I don't need jackets. And I'm trying to hand the jackets back. And as I'm handing one jacket back, another jacket's put on top of me. When I'm trying to hand this jacket back, someone else is throwing a jacket on me. So by the time the firemen get there, And they're my friends. I mean, we work very close with the fire department, and they get there, and they walk up, and they have this look on their face. It's not like they're not looking at me because I'm laying on my back with my foot up on the tire, because I knew I probably should get my foot up, because I keep telling myself it's sprained, but I put my foot up so it doesn't swell up too bad, because I don't want them cutting my boots off or cutting my pants off or whatever. So, but the first thing they say is, "Where did you get all these jackets?" And because when the firemen pulled up, all these people kind of dispersed off to the side to watch, and they left me there by myself with all of their jackets on top of me. And that was the first thing they said. "Where did you get all these jackets?" I said, "I don't know. I think they belong to all these folks over here." So then they're calling for everybody. "Whoever's got a jacket on this guy, come get your jacket. We got it covered." So my buddies get there, and they're asking me, what's going on with this? And, I told them what happened. And he said, "Well, do you think it's broken?" I said, "I don't know. I hope it's not broken. I don't know a whole lot about broken bones. I've never broken a bone. I mean, I've helped people who have broken their bones, but I don't know what that feels like or what have you." So they load me up in the ambulance, and of course the whole time I'm calm and I'm fine. And so they're checking me out, take my boots off and stuff. And he says, "No, I think you might have just sprained it really bad." And I said, "Well, my foot turned around." He says, "Well, sometimes you just, maybe tear a tendon or something." So they were concerned that I had ripped my Achilles tendon, which the thought of that for some reason freaked me out more than actually breaking my leg, for whatever reason, because I don't know. I follow sports loosely, and you always hear about the athletes who tear their Achilles tendon, and then for some reason, I mean, not so much anymore, but back in the day when you tore that tendon, it was like you were done for, like you could not play anymore, or whatever. So I was more freaked out about the possibility of my Achilles tendon being torn than my bone broken. So he starts checking me out. I said, "No, I can, you can move your foot in a way that tells us that your tendon's fine." So he starts poking on the side of my foot, because at this point my pants, they still have my pant leg down. They had just getting my boots off. They were just moving my foot around and stuff. So he pulls my pant leg up, and I can see and forgive me if this grosses anybody out, but I could see like a little bump on the side of my leg. And he pushed on it, and he's like, "Dude, that's your bone." I said, "Okay, well, I guess we're taking a ride." I still haven't freaked out at this point, because I don't even know what's going on. And I get to the hospital, and they do their thing. They check me out, give me X-rays and stuff, and it turns out that they thought that I had broke it in a couple places, at least 3 places, on both the bones in my leg there. But it turns out I actually broke it in like 4 or 5 different places. Once they got me down for surgery and cut me open, then they could see other things. So that's where I'm at. I can tell you I'm getting sick and tired of sitting around. I'm a working guy. I like to be out doing stuff. So that's kind of the introduction to the series. Part 2, I've talked about gratitude. And it's not like I stopped being grateful for things in my life. I'm a pretty grateful guy. I acknowledge people and I acknowledge things that they do for me. But when you got a lot of time to sit around and you're laying around on a couch and people are doing stuff for you that they weren't doing for you before, stuff that we all do on our own, like little things, you start to notice other things. You start to notice how those people, even the ones that are closest to you in your life, how they kind of sometimes become just like fixtures. It's almost like you're in a movie starring you. It's like these people are here, and stuff happens around you, and stuff is happening for you. But sometimes it seems like we take credit for it, and it wasn't even us that did it. We're on the receiving end of other people's care and attention. And until you're laid up, and until you're laying there and you're watching it go on, because you have nothing else to do. You have nothing else to do. You get sick of TV after a couple days. I'm a gamer. I like to play games, but I didn't even play any video games for like that first month, because I was half in and out, but at the same time I was more fascinated with what the stuff that I didn't notice before. And the things in our life, they kind of fall into the background if we don't take the time to pay attention to them. So today I wanted to just share with you the people that I'm grateful for. So of course I'm grateful for my wife. She's been my rock and my foundation. Now I'm a 225-pound man, and she's about a 125-pound woman. And I don't know where she gets the strength from. I don't know where she gets it, but that first month where she had to move me around, and of course, everything in my house is like 3 levels, so I have an upstairs to use the bathroom and go to bed, or I can go downstairs to use the bathroom. But in the living room, there's no way. So she had to help me crawl up the stairs, and she had to drag me down the stairs, and she had to do all these things. I'm so grateful for her. And I'm not even as grateful for her for doing those things for me, because she does those out of, she feels like it's her duty. It's the little things that she does for me every day that I didn't notice before. She kind of makes things happen in the background that makes my day easy. I'm grateful for my children. They have stepped up. They have taken on a much larger role. They've done a lot of the things that I used to do that I still can't do because I can't. It's just the way it is. A lot of the things that need to get done, like picking up or whatever, they've really stepped it up, and I'm really grateful for them. I'm really grateful for my job. I wasn't sure what was going to happen to me. I always heard horror stories, and the funny thing is, back in the day, I was a risk manager for a large company, and I was on the other end, so I would deal with the injured people. And my experience from before was kind of bad because I won't say a lot of companies, I don't know. But from my experience, the company side of an injury isn't always nice. And sometimes they're kind of underhanded, and they do things that aren't right. So I was a little worried about how it was going to affect my job, my income, things like that. But I can't tell you. I can't even begin to describe to you. I'll try, but I won't be able to describe to you how grateful I am for the people at my work, my partner, my chief, the elected council who run the community. They have been there from start to finish, and anything that I've needed, anything that was a concern, they made sure that they took care of everything. They told me if I ever needed anything to call them, they'll come down, they'll do whatever they have to do. And I'm so grateful for them. I'm so grateful for them. And it was a big burden off my shoulders because I knew that they had my back. They were going to take care of me. My friends. I'm grateful for my friends. They're always calling and checking on me. They're always making sure that I've got everything I needed. And I don't have a huge circle of friends, but the ones that I have, they've really come through. They say you can always tell who your friends are when things go bad. I'm very fortunate to have the friends that I do because they've been there every step of the way. I'm grateful for the people that threw the jackets on me. They suffered in the cold to make sure that I was suffocating in jackets. It was with good intent, and I'm grateful for them. They didn't have to show up. They could have just kept on walking. Too many times we see something happen in the world, and we see all these videos where people are just witnesses. All they do is stand around and videotape things, or they stand around and just watch. They don't go into action. They don't act. They don't go in to help somebody. And I had so many, I didn't know what to do with them all. So I'm very grateful for them. And this situation has taught me one thing, that I have to be grateful for situations, the good and bad ones, because they always, whether it's a good or bad situation, whether it's a good or bad thing that's happened to you, if you survive it, if you get through it and you're still alive and you're still, no worse for wear, that becomes a learning experience. That becomes something that you mark off on your little list of things that you've been through. And it just makes you that much better. Sorry if you guys can hear like noise in the background. Apparently someone decided to build a house right next to me today of all days. I don't know why they didn't do it yesterday, but so if you hear that, I apologize. Part 3, we talked about mindfulness. As I said, I was given the opportunity to spend a lot of time laying down and just sitting there and experiencing nothing. You know, I had a lot of time to sit down and think and pray and meditate. And, you know, for the first couple of weeks, I couldn't get past the accident. And I don't know why. It's going to sound maybe stupid. I don't know. Hopefully you guys will share your experiences with me a little bit later. But for me, I had trouble thinking about anything other than reliving the accident over and over and over again. And not in a good way. It was keeping me up at night. I couldn't sleep. It was giving me nightmares sometimes. But I was given a lot of time to sit. And once I got past that, it was about 2 weeks, and I got past that, I spent a lot of time contemplating the past. I spent a lot of time contemplating the present. And although I was in a lot of pain for most of that time, it was some of the best meditation sessions I've ever had. And which is funny because, as I shared in the video for this part of the series, my favorite meditations are walking meditations. I like to do walking meditations. I don't like sitting still. I like to be able to move and interact and things like that. So it also gave me the opportunity to sit down and get better at my sitting meditations, or, well, in my case, laying down, because I couldn't really sit either. So, in that series, the one thing I want to leave with everyone with that, and, you know, I've been teaching people since probably 2003, 2004, and there's a couple things they always ask me that seem to be always the question. What is the best meditation? What is the best prayer? What is the best this? What is the best that? And all I can tell them, and as I said in this series, all I can tell you is that you have to keep looking. You have to keep trying different methods and keep trying different things and find the one that works best for you. When I first came into the community back in 2002 or so, I had the hardest time. And before that, I had never meditated, really. I mean, I knew what it was, but I never really gave it much credence or much thought. But when I first started learning meditation, it was almost impossible for me to sit and just be quiet and think about nothing, you know. And I know a lot of people start off with that, and I just couldn't do it. I just could not do it. I could do it for maybe, 10 seconds, and that was it. And then I get frustrated. And those of you who have students out there, you know what I'm talking about, because I'm sure they expressed that to you, because they have always expressed it to me. I decided that I was going to try guided meditations. And that's how I learned to do the more traditional meditations. And to this day, I still like doing guided meditations. I'll find some that I like. A lot of times I'll use my own. But again, you have to keep looking and find what works for you. Because there is no quote-unquote best way. There is no quote-unquote best ever meditation, best ever prayer, best ever anything. Because we all have different ways of going about it. And even if you can't find one that works for you exactly, find one that works for you for the most part and tweak it, change it. Do whatever you have to do to make it work for you. Because 5 minutes of meditation a day is way better than 0 minutes of meditation a day. All right. We're coming to the top of the hour, and I know I haven't gotten through to part 4 yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, I'm going to finish up talking about the Road to Recovery, and we'll finish that up with compassion and empathy, which, of course, is my favorite. I love talking about compassion and empathy. And then we'll get into, we'll interview Charles and talk about his projects. And if Allie's able to make it, then we will let her share some insight into her new radio projects as well. So then we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back in just a moment. All right. That song was called The Clairvoyant, also by Broken Poets. And I just wanted to add one thing to you guys. If you like the music that you hear on the show, just hit me up. I'd be happy to share it with you. I'm allowed to share it with you, so If you really do enjoy the music or the songs, just let me know, and I'll send it your way. All right, so part 4 of the series, The Road to Recovery and New Beginnings. We capped off the series before the break with compassion and empathy. Compassion is a very important thing. It's a very important cornerstone for a lot of people's practice and path and their philosophy. I mean, you almost can't go anywhere. I mean, anywhere for and look at a philosophy or a faith or anything that deals with being good to each other and kind of being on that quote unquote light side without seeing the word compassion everywhere. But the thing is, when you get to a point where compassion is good, but if you use it all the time just as an emotional response to something that you see or to some tragedy that somebody has befallen them or you, it's been my experience that I notice a lot of people confuse the word sympathy with empathy when applying compassion. And I've always kind of thought, it's always been my personal opinion that when something is happening to somebody, I've always thought that it was kind of disrespectful to feel sorry for someone. Oh my God, I feel so sorry for you. Well, to me that kind of seems like if something happens to you and I say to you, I'm so sorry that happened, I feel so sorry for you. That's me just projecting my feelings onto you and almost dumping more negative feelings on top of somebody who's already going through some stuff. I like to teach that compassion can be a state of being. You can be compassionate all the time. You can be compassionate without dumping, that emotional garbage on top of somebody else. And what I mean is, it's simply the difference between sympathy and empathy. Like I said, sympathy is feeling sorry for someone. But when you can apply empathy, when you feel empathy towards somebody who's going through some stuff, you're not dumping your garbage on them. You're not dumping more negativity on them. When you're empathetic to somebody, you become more of an ally to them because you're sharing the experience. You're sharing the feelings. You're putting yourself in their shoes, putting yourself in a place where you can understand where they are. And that seems like a hell of a lot better place to be when you're trying to help somebody. Not that there's anything wrong with, the normal understanding of compassion. I was telling you, earlier, I got hurt and these people were throwing jackets on me. They were feeling compassionate for me. They weren't just feeling sorry for me, because if they just felt sorry for me, they would just stood around and just watched me suffer or whatever. But they felt compassion for me. They felt compelled to act. So they, did the only thing they knew what to do. But when you apply empathy to that, when you're compelled to action on the behalf of someone else, it's a lot better when you can be an ally rather than trying to, scoop them up and save the day. Because sometimes people need to pull themselves up. Sometimes people need to fall down in order to realize what's going wrong. And if you're just swooping in like Superman to save the day all the time, rather than becoming an ally and helping them through it, rather than just solving their problems for them, that's going to go much, much, much further in the long run. Much further in the long run. So that was kind of, I almost said briefly, but it's been 40 minutes or so. That's kind of where we're at in the series, Road to Recovery and New Beginnings. And I just wanted to kind of share with you just some kind of live thoughts about it, some just raw thoughts about it versus thoughts that you've read in the blog posts, which are calculated, of course, and the videos that are edited. And so let's see who we have here. I still don't see Allie. Hold on here. Give me just a second. I'm gonna have Charles summon her with a summoning ritual. All right. So we'll move on. Allie should be here at some point, I imagine, and we'll just bring her in. So this whole hour and 8-minute exercise was just a distraction because in mere moments, I am going to summon the great Charles Lightning Strike from whatever netherworld he is hiding in right now. Charles!
I am being summoned. And Allie is trying to call my Skype. Someone tell her to call Blog Talk and not me. She thinks I can add her in. That's not how this works.
No. Well, see, the problem is that you're not Well, I almost said you're not a techno wizard, and in many ways you are.
I am. I'm sending her the link now. I said to her, we are summoning you, and she goes, where? And oh, God.
And now she's trying to call me.
Of course she is. We'll wait on my segment until we get her in, okay? We will manifest this. I shall draw a pentagram and a hexagram and a teddygram and other graham cracker type things until we get her in here. I've sent her the link, and now will she click on it?
I don't know. Well,
the world waits in anticipation. Will Alethea click the button? Can she click the button? God, please, Allie, click the button.
While we're waiting for Allie, and before we get into the new project that you're working on, what have you been up to? It's been a while. You know, the funny thing is, I just want to share this with everyone. The funny thing is, this is our first show back to Blog Talk Radio since 2011. And it wasn't like we didn't do shows before then. We just left Blog Talk and built our own platform.
Wow.
But the very last show on Blog Talk Radio was an episode of The Labyrinth, hosted by Charles McBride. How fitting that you had the last episode of our Blog Talk days, and now here you are back on our first return show.
Oh, my
God.
God.
What have you been up to? What have you been up to in the last couple of years?
Wow. Well, when we left Blog Talk, of course, we already know the history of the KOA, and you've already covered that. But, you know, of course, for a few years there, I was doing website work, either acting as a consultant and helping with it or running the site. And then, you know, about a year or so ago, just everyone's lives exploded. You know, I had a breakup and then basically a quest for finding myself afterwards. And just everyone had to go in different directions, and we did for a while. And for my part, going on into different directions involved getting out there and meeting people as friends and making friends, which is something I'd never really done in my day-to-day that much. I became part of a very thriving mystical community over at Piece of Me, so I'll give them a quick little plug over in Cumberland, Maryland. And at some point, I looked at my job, and for everything that and I can talk freely about everything I'd ever worked and done there. For everything that the Cumberland Martins had given me, and they gave me a lot, you know, a lot of good, and you know, it just wasn't the environment I wanted to be in for the rest of my life. I really didn't want to do retail service work for the rest of my life. They did give me a lot in terms of experience. They gave me a lot in terms of kind of a friendship and a family there as well, but it just wasn't an environment that was healthy for me as a person, and I knew it. I looked around after, you know, relationships that just didn't work and a job that wasn't working for me, and I contacted PapaHood, who I will talk about later on, who's a good friend of mine. I know his real name, which you will not get to hear, but I know him personally. And he had made an offer once. He said, if you ever want to turn your life around, let me know. You know, I will get you to where I'm living in the far south, you know, southern areas of the United States. It makes it sound like South America, but it's not. It's a little further north than South America. But you know, he said, come down here.
Which is funny, by the way, because you are from the north. You're born and raised in the frigid Northeast, right?
Sort of. I was born in the South. And we moved to the north, and I lived most of my life ever since I was 3 in the north, and I've wanted to come back. And I said, you know, I will set foot back on my homeland again. And on my way leaving from Maryland, I had friends crying, and you know, we're going to miss you. And you know, I miss a lot of people. I made a lot of good friendships. I made strong connections, and I worked with mystics that have impressed me. I worked with a Reiki healer who I've seen do things that if I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't believe in it. And just to kind of sum that part of it up so that I can then hand the floor over to Allie because I think she's almost ready. You know, at one point I was working with that Reiki healer, Jody Kreiser, at Piece of Me, and her and I were talking about our skills and things like that. And I said, you know, I just don't know if I'm good enough to do this professionally. And she said to me, she says, you balance my chakras. And I'm like, well, yeah. And she says, you cast spells for me. And I said, yeah. She says, I've done Reiki for you in return for that. And I'm like, yeah. And, you know, she was really the first person to attune me with a longer, more drawn-out version of the Reiki attunement, which had a lot more impact. The Reiki 1 from that, and since then I've gotten Reiki 2 and Reiki 3 attuned. You know, we talked and we worked together so much, and she said, you undersell your skills. She said, you're one of the best that I've ever met. You're one of the strongest. You're one of the most compassionate. She says, you can do this for a living if this is where your heart is. You can be a professional mystic. And I said, okay. So when I talked to PapaHood, I said, you know, I want to do more in the shop. I want to offer services out there, and I want to get out there. And I've got to say, if it wasn't for Jody and the experiences there, I would not have the confidence and the strength of will and the determination to be where I'm at here. And I don't know if you'll hear this, sis. You know, she's one of my sisters, one of my many sisters that I've come to know over the years. But I'm doing it, and I gotta thank her. So, you know, making those interactions was a big part of this last year, and then the move, and you know, it's just been a lot to deal with and process, but it's been so much fun and such a great experience. And you once said that I reinvent myself every day, and you're right, I do. I refuse to be just the man I was yesterday. I want to be better every day, and I'm always striving for that. And I've finally gotten to a place in a job and doing something with my life where when someone says, are you proud of what you do? I can say, yeah, I'm proud of what I do. And do you feel that your job does something for people that's valuable? And I can say, yeah, I feel that it's valuable. And it took me a year of getting to meet people and know people and learn from them and work with them to find out that I was good enough. And then it took me getting into the field to say, yeah, I can be proud of what it is I do. And I am. And I've just got to thank all of those people that helped me on that journey. And really, I've got to hop back in time, and then I'll give the floor to Allie. And I got to thank you, Justin. And I got to thank David if he ever hears this. If it hadn't been for you guys, I would still be there wondering if I could even talk about what I know, wondering if I knew enough even to speak my mind, not knowing that I was the guy that people turned to, not really even recognizing it, even though it was true. You know, if it hadn't been for you guys and it hadn't been my start with the Labyrinth, I would still be in Cumberland, freezing to death, you know, covered in snow, and being like, you know, dreading my work days, dreading my shifts, and dreading all of it, and just wondering if this was going to be it, if it was going to end in ice. So this is a journey that started in 2011 for me, and it took 5 years to get here, but that's what I've been up to. And I got to thank everyone who has picked me up and helped me up. And I throw one anime reference in there. I'm not going to give all the details, but if you watch Battle of the Gods, Dragon Ball Z, there's a moment when everyone puts faith in Goku, and it gives him the power to win. And I've got to compare my life to that moment. If it wasn't for all the faith of everyone just surrounding me and pouring that into me, I would have never gotten this strong. So thank you. And now I'll yield the floor, and then I'll be back later.
Yeah, you know, the very best thank you that you could ever give me is just keep doing what you do. That's always been kind of the thing. That's always been my theme. With everyone I encounter in my life, it's all about lifting them up and then watching them. That's the greatest part for me, is watching people. And we're going to talk to you about this thing that you're doing, this project you're doing over at PapaHood Sorcery. And it makes me very proud. I may not understand everything you do because, you know, I'm kind of a regular guy. But, you know, like I told you earlier, I'm not a level 33 wizard, but I know enough to talk about it at bars, you know, or whatever. But in all seriousness, watching you do what you do, and just so everybody knows, you and I have been friends for much, much longer than 2011, but it just seemed like the thing to do to give you a voice. And maybe as a bonus one of these days, we'll just talk candidly about the old days. All right. She's late to her own funeral, but that's okay. Hello, sweetheart. Allie, you with me?
My funeral? What?
Well, no, I'm just saying you're going to be late to your funeral someday.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got
But that's okay because I probably will be too. You know, the casket will be up there and people will be crying. And well, I hope they'll be crying. But people will be up there and staring at this box. And I'll just walk in and go, what's going on? You know. So, just a quick introduction for Allie. Some of you may know her as Alethea Thompson. Again, no relation to the Derek Thompson. I like to call her Allie because, you know, I like to use shorthand. It's less syllables. But Allie was a host for us, not in the Blog Talk days. Shortly thereafter, Allie hosted a show called Force Realist. Not to confuse it with Jedi Realist, who our friend Michael Hannigan hosts, and he corrected me on that the other day. She hosted a show called Force Realist, and she's back with us. I know you guys have seen some stuff that she's been posting on YouTube and on the page. So, Allie, I'll let you talk about your new project, and the floor is yours.
Well, I decided I was going to drop Force Realist because I think it's time for someone else to take up that mantle if they want to. There's a lot of voices in the community that I'm sure if they got a bug up their ass, they would be able to step in there and provide that field, that depth. Because, you know, I'm sure many of you know I've done a lot for the Jedi community, and it's about time I stopped being the one that led the teachings anymore. I still act in the capacity of being a leader, and I'm not leaving the community anytime soon. But the major point of this is that I'm moving on to a new project called Let's Regroup, Building Stronger Citizens. And this has kind of been in the making for a long time. A while back, like back in 2010, I believe is when I started the project originally. I started writing up a program called Aiding Emergency Services. Actually, at the time, it was Aiding Law Enforcement. Now, then it moved to be called Aiding Emergency Services, and now it's called Bridging the Thin Blue Line, which Justin got to help me revamp the new version and improve upon it. Man, I keep coughing these last 2 days in my videos, right? So, anyways, I started going further into it because the Baltimore and Ferguson issues kept rising up, and I'm sitting there banging my head against a wall saying, you know, there's a better way to do stuff. And then suddenly, you know, I'm starting to write some of this stuff up, and there's this, he's from Britain, and he did a video called Don't Stay in School. That's what it was called. It's by Boy in a Band. And I sat and I listened to it, and I was like, oh, my gosh, this guy is freaking brilliant. He's right. There's so many things that we could bring about and teach people that is not taught in school that will get people starting to think better. So that's where Let's Regroup came from. It took me a long time to come up with the name, a long time. But I've had the material written up for a while, at least the beginning material. And hopefully, as Knights+Of Awakening expands into coursework, we'll actually have people doing courses. So, you know, something to look forward to. And, hey, if we get enough money to do it, maybe I can actually teach these classes in person, which has been my dream since I came up with the idea in the first place about a year and a half ago while I was in the Coast Guard still.
Yeah, but you'll be flying coach. Don't get any grand ideas of flying first class.
I'm not going to say I'm flying first class. I want to start off in the area first, maybe train up some people on how to do it, and they can spread it around the world.
We'll spring for a Greyhound bus ticket, maybe.
And sometimes you might hear that little one in the background. He's our mini co-host from back in the day.
So one thing I wanted to have you talk about with the Let's Group stuff is the fact that given the political climate of our country and possibly a large portion of the world, it's a very divided, nasty, ugly, horrible, kind of scary climate out there right now politically. And a lot of these topics that Let's Regroup is talking about is very controversial and could be seen as politically charged. But from what I've seen from the group over at the Facebook group, as well as the I want to say I keep thinking it's WordPress, but it's not. But anyways, the videos that you've been posting, you're not coming at people in other words, you're trying to help people find the common sense in all of it. Put away the political bullshit, put away the divisiveness, put away the political correctness, and this is all common sense. Is that about right?
That's about right. The idea is that if I can get people to start thinking about how to get their changes, like, look, okay, somebody recently told me that they thought it was a Democratic page because they didn't know it was me that was running it. And my whole point was I was trying to give a neutral standpoint. I was trying to be not Republican, and apparently I came over very liberal. And I'm not even going to lie. I would love to have a liberal that could actually think for themselves, could present their side without going social justice warrior, like on the extreme side of things, come in and provide that point of view so that I could just provide the Republican point of view and not have to worry about it. But for now, I am trying to go for the middle ground. I want you to think about what you're talking about. A lot of people, for example, I was talking to a professor in this place. It's called Coffee Underground. It's like very popular cafe. They have this whole motto that friends don't let friends drink Starbucks type thing. And this professor of botany, I believe he was a botanist, came in and he had asked me what I was doing my homework on. I told him, I was like, it's emergency management and homeland security. And his first response was, well, if Trump gets the position and as president, there'll be plenty of room for you to slide into that job. And I got to talking to him. I was like, well, actually, I'm, personally kind of hoping that Trump gets there for this reason. But on the same note, I kind of think Clinton would be better for the foreign policy. And I'm not going to get into that right now. We can talk about that at a later date. But he was a Sanders fan. And when he and I got to talking about the differences in opinions, one of the things that he and I came to the conclusion of was, I really wish that people would just think and talk like you and I just did. We're on obviously very different sides of the political spectrum, and all we're talking about is the facts. And you just happen to align with a different set. You've seen the same facts that I've seen. I've seen the same facts that you've seen, and we just disagree on how to go forward. And that's all this is about. That's how we're going to teach things. Kai, go back inside. Yes, go back inside. Go back inside. Okay. Anyway, but the whole point that I want is for people to be able to do that, to do what he and I did, where we look at this is how you can get things through. If the Democratic Party takes over, you know what? That's what America wanted. That's the whole point of us going through elections and trying to push things forward to get what we want to see happen. But people don't think about, like, there's an entire section that I'm going to do on elections. There's an entire course. I'm going to have to figure out how to write it up so that I can do it in the videos because it's a very involved process. Like, you actually have to sit there and look at pieces of paper and read off, okay, this is what I'm going to look for in the candidate and yada, yada, yada. And I even want to have, like, a mock debate because there's a lot of things that go into the political process that people don't think about. And I want them to think, okay, maybe I don't align with this. That professor mentioned that his dad is starkly Republican. He won't bend. He votes Republican because that's what he wants to vote. But when he asked him questions about this or that on different policies, his dad aligned as a Democrat. But his dad didn't believe it. He couldn't believe that he was a Democrat in those things because his entire life he was raised, no, just vote Republican, vote Republican. That's not how this thing's supposed to work. We're supposed to be thinking for ourselves. And that's what I want people to do. That's what Let's Regroup is all about. Think for yourselves. If you don't agree with me, you don't agree with me. But at least think about how you're going to move forward with how you're going to get this change to go. And that's the first series is all about social reform. How do you get that to work? Protest doesn't do it. They're just cheerleaders.
Very aggressive cheerleaders. the kind of cheerleaders that meet you in the parking lot after the game. But that's good. If you guys haven't checked out any of the videos that Ali has posted for Let's Regroup, you can check those out at youtube.com/C/Knights+Of+Awakening. And you can also check out the Let's Regroup Facebook page at facebook.com/Let's Regroup America, all one word. All right, thanks. Are we going to see anything? Soon?
Well, I'm doing it week by week for now.
Okay.
This weekend, hopefully, I'll have some people that want to come in for a time. I want to do a actual video chat over a fictional situation called the Ryoko Riot, which I drew elements of different things that have actually happened around the world in history before. And, it's kind of an involved process. Is the reason why I'm not actually doing it on Blog Talk or another podcast type thing. I need you guys to actually be able to visualize some of the things that I'm going to tell you. Because if you don't know for example, one of the words in there is tactical L. Military personnel, police personnel all know what a tactical L looks like, but most people don't. So you'll have to actually get involved and figure out what I'm saying, and that's why we're going to do a video chat, and that's going to be on recording. It's part of the set. It'll hopefully go up the next week after I get everything whittled down. I might have to do some editing because Lord knows, after all the times that we've ever done these podcasts, I talk forever.
Yeah, I think you and Derek are in a close race for the most long-winded for sure. Where can they find that? How can they participate?
Okay, so it's going to be done on the Knights of Awakening Skype that we have. You just go on the Skype, add us at Knights of Awakening. It's all one word, and I'll be able to record it from there. And then if you want to vote for a time to participate, I'm keeping people posted on the Knights of Awakening public group page that we have. So you go in, there's a poll in there somewhere, and I'll re-bump it up there so people can see it. And it's going to be this Saturday at whatever specified time, hopefully. Though I do have to mention there is a possibility I might have to change it. It turns out that I've recently joined a church, not something I ever thought I would do because I had difficulty finding a church that I could align with. And, oh gosh, I'm going to get total weird looks on this one. Let me explain that they're new, okay? They've only been around for 5 months. They are in the most historic building in the town. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness or a Mormon going to knock on people's door for the hell of it. It's just nobody knows that we're here. So we're going to knock on doors either Thursday or Saturday to let people know that we're here.
Well, have fun with that. I don't envy you. Just so everybody knows, I pinned that post over at the Knights of Awakening public group. If you want to join that, just type in Knights of Awakening in the search bar on top of the Facebook page and just send us a request and we will add you with no problem. All right, well, have fun with that door knocking thing, and we look forward to more of the stuff coming out from Let's Regroup.
I'm so looking forward to this new start. This is such a great thing.
All right, we'll catch you later.
All right.
Charles.
I have been summoned.
So, just a little. Well, I guess before we get you talking here, I just want to share some links with people. Charles has been working with a project called PapaHood Sorcery, and I want to make sure you guys know how to get there. You can. There's a couple of ways. PapaHood Sorcery has a Facebook presence, and the link to there is facebook.com/PapaHood Sorcery, all one word, and that'll take you to their main Facebook page. You can also find PapaHood Sorcery. I believe it's at PapaHoodSorcery.com, right?
That is absolutely correct.
All right, so you can check them out. The Facebook page is really fun. Charles posts a lot of funny pictures there. I just seen one where Adam West Batman is standing on the bridge of the Star Trek Enterprise. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's hilarious. So, Charles, you've been working on this new thing. Why don't you tell us all about it?
All righty. Well, PapaHood is actually a person. He brought me in to work with him on his shop as one of the few mystics that he trusts and that he wants to work with directly. We've been good friends for years. And again, as I said, I won't reveal his identity. But as a side note, I was really curious while we were listing the links, how hard is it to find our site? If you type PapaHood as one word in your Google search bar, we're the second link up. The first link is the definition of PapaHood by the Wiktionary. So, we are not baby conceivers. That's not our job. We can, but we don't sell that as a service. PapaHood Sorcery is the definitive place to get spell work, divination, in the form of tarot card readings or intuitive readings. We offer Reiki services as well as Divine Key Reiki, which is a method that I've developed. It is a place that works with spirit bindings, which are a form of, really, I don't want to call them a ghost binding, but for those that are uninitiated or don't really understand it, basically we take a spirit or entity of some form and as per request, and we create a communications link to it, to a stone or to you directly so that you can work with it. And that is one of the services we provide. We provide quite a bit in the form of spell work. We provide quite a bit in the form of what are known as attunements. And to give you an idea what an attunement is, an attunement amounts to a form of initiation energetically that provides you access to energy you may not have had before. And the best example of this is Reiki. And I'm gonna sidetrack myself. I knew I would. I'm gonna grab myself up, but I covered stuff I was gonna cover earlier, so it's okay. It's fine. I'm now going to throw myself off track and tell you, when I started into this path, my view of Reiki, and I'm sure you know this from my Labyrinth episodes, my view of Reiki and my view of anything with the word attunement was like, oh really? It wasn't until I got Reiki attuned over a longer period of time instead of a faster form of attunement that I had received earlier, over a longer method, that I really gained not just a respect for Reiki, but a love for the method. And it's really been one of my go-to methods for energy healing now, so much so that I'm telling people, every Reiki master is different, and one person's attunement is not going to be the same as another's. And if you've been attuned, maybe go to a Reiki healer that you trust, that you've had good experiences with in healing. And once you found that one, have them attune you, because it may just be that you're creating a kind of psychological or energetic block, and you may not be getting the full benefits of the Reiki attunement. I've run into a lot of people that have had that issue, and I just got to say, I've already plugged Jody twice in here. When she did a Reiki attunement on me, it shifted my energy system in such a drastically good way. And then since then, working with PapaHood, working with some of the attunements that he offers, and those methods, gaining different attunements there are a lot of things that I find are really valuable in that. So those are some of the big things we do. And we prefer to work with the spell work more and with the attunements less when we can. But the attunements are very useful, and they're very good, and they're really great for people that want to do things on their own. They're not looking for us to do it. They're looking for a way to do it better themselves, and it gives them access to an energy in a way that they may not have had. I provide a Mjolnir attunement myself because I've got such a strong connection to the energies of Thor and such a strong connection to the Norse pantheon that I've worked with that long enough that I can attune someone to that energy and help them break down barriers in their life and provide some of that raw intensity that is the Mjolnir. With that, I've kind of said who I am, and I've addressed, the nature of things with the PapaHood Sorcery shop, and we love what we do. And I really want to stress that. we love to do the work. I love to do the tarot card readings. I love to do the Reiki sessions. I love to do the ceremonial mysticism. I love to do the spirit binding, or as I call it, spirit bonding. You know, we love to do all that, and PapaHood loves any opportunity he has to work with clients, and we see them more as, you know, family and friends. You know, we really love to do that. And to give an example, I hate to give bad tarot card readings. I've had a couple tarot card readings recently where it was showing negative things for a client, and, you know, it pains me. But the other side of that is to maintain the integrity of the art form, to maintain the integrity of the work. I've got to tell you what I'm seeing. You know, if I tell you everything is sunshine and roses because you want to hear it, then I'm not much of a reader. So, you know, we love what we do. We don't always like to have to be the bearers of bad news for the intuitive work or the tarot card work. But, you know, that covers a good bit of that. And to really hit on tarot cards, what you get with a tarot card reading, you get usually a page to a page and a half and sometimes 2 pages of information based on the cards. A lot of readers will give you a picture of the card and then a little sentence that's like, oh, you got the 3 of Swords. Screw you, your life sucks. And it's like, that's not much of a reading. What I do is I use a combination intuitive reading plus an interpretation of the knowledge of what the cards mean, the symbolism of the elements involved as it relates to the question asked. And I'll tell you, the 3 of Swords, it rarely ever means good things, but it can mean so many things based on the question, based on who's asking, and based on what I'm picking up from that card at any one moment. And, you know, if that is in your past or if that is in your best guidance, it could mean so many different things. I have to write a paragraph of text, not just because I'm a wordy bastard, but because to give the full meaning of what that card implies takes a paragraph from my point of view. And that's what I like to offer. That's what I like to be able to do in that. And within the spell work, when we do a ritual for someone, for instance, we did the Odinic eye opening, the third eye, psychic, intuition, energy booster. You know, it provides a boost to that. You know, we had to sacrifice a large portion of good quality meat to Odin in a fire because this is a Norse ritual. And if you are not sacrificing to Odin, if you're not going through these proper steps, he doesn't give a crap. He's not going to be helping you because this is Norse and this is how it's done. And I'm not giving all the details of it, but I'm going to tell you that there's a material cost for the service that we have to then take on. So you're getting more than you may even realize. This isn't just a circle and a pentagram in it and hope for the best. This is a detailed service. This is something that we've worked on. It's something we've done before in some capacity every time that is now being molded and honed towards our clientele, towards our customer base in a way that we love to do. So that covers the shop, really. You know, we love to do our work. We love to make talismans, and we're looking at ways of making new talismans. We're looking at ways of making better talismans. You know, we just it's a joy to work in this business. I can't tell you how much fun it is. You know,
well, let me add something to what you said. Integrity is the cornerstone of the Knights of Awakening. Probably the strongest pillar in what we do, integrity. And when dealing with mystics and things of this nature, integrity is very important. And I want to point out, back in the day, David and I used to have fun finding the pretenders. We used to find them. We used to seek them out and hunt them down and expose them. Because what happens is people like Charles and people like PapaHood, they get lost in an ocean of, for lack of a better term, forgive my language, bullshitters. And I can tell you, on my reputation, I believe that Charles and everything he does, integrity is always number one thing. And that's why the Labyrinth show was so good, because Charles never pulled any punches with anybody. If he had bad news for you, he didn't like telling you, but he told you because it was all about integrity. And that's one of the biggest things. That's one of the reasons why you will not see the Knights of Awakening collaborating with a lot of mystics and psychics and things like that. We collaborate with Charles and everything he does because integrity is key. And I would stake my reputation on what Charles said or what he does, because I know he believes that because he's shown it. He's shown it over and over and over again. So I just wanted to throw that out there, Charles, because it's so easy to find so many people, and then the real people get mixed up with, the bullshitters. And so
no, you're absolutely right.
So I just wanted to say that. I mean, it's very important that and I'm so glad you said it, because it's so hard. I can turn on the TV right now and find 8 bullshitters, and maybe out of 10, 2 of them will be legit, but it's hard to tell for people who may not understand or have a deep understanding of what it is you do. If you go back and listen to the Labyrinth shows, and this is the part that I love the most. You were telling me thank you earlier, but where it's at for me, Charles, is that the stuff that you used to teach on the Labyrinth show is stuff that you're putting into practice now, and it's stuff that you're doing daily, and it warms my heart to see that because you do it with such integrity. And I just wanted people to know that. I didn't want to take away from what you were saying, but like I said, it's so important to me, and I know it's important to you, and that's why people ought to know. The KOA does not collaborate with people who are bullshitters. If I find a bullshitter, they're gone. They're done. And Charles has been with us for a long time, so I just wanted to throw that out there. I didn't want to interrupt you or anything, but I just thought it was important.
I just got a message from our good friend Mike Hannigan, and he was letting us know that we've got 15 minutes and that the new platform, the Blog Talk platform, it cuts off on the minute. So I'm going to sum up everything I got to say real quick, and I'm going to hand the floor back to you, brother. All right. And we'll have another one of these in the future so I can go into more detail. We love what we do, and integrity is our highest priority. Everyone I work with is of high integrity. To really quickly give an example, my experience with servitors before working with a fellow who goes by the name of Dark Lord Midnight, I believe, and Kellis is the name I know him under. Before working with him, my view of servitors was like, oh, so you make thought forms. After working with him and I sat down and had a talk. I was like, how do you do what you do? And we went over some of the process, and I'm like, you do realize that you're putting more work into your servitors than anyone who is not a ceremonial wizard, doing high magic over the course of hours to achieve very similar results. And he says, I want to make sure that what I do is of high quality. And I said, well, you've impressed me. And no one impresses me. It doesn't happen. So the people we work with, the things that we do, I strive for integrity, and I strive for that. And I've met many, many, many people of good integrity, and there are many, many great sellers out there. We're not the only ones that are of a high integrity, but we make certain to maintain a high integrity. I will never bash anyone else's work, especially if I've not experienced it. But I'm always open if someone wants to send an entity or a being over to have me review it and take a look at what I think of it, or if someone wants to work with me with some mysticism and they want to send over the essence of a spell that they've done, or they want to do a spell for me so I can tell them how it impacted my life. So long as this isn't like, let's say if we can kill Charles, I'm good. I don't take kindly to, the last one. I tend to get snappy whenever someone tries to kill me. So as long as it's not that and they want to send something over and try something, I'm good for it.
I think we can all relate to the whole not being killed thing. It kind of rubs us wrong.
To hit real quick, a lot of people will say, in the old Labyrinth episodes, you criticized a lot of what it seems you're doing. And so I've always said, no, I criticize the people that get up there and they use psychology and methodology to pull the wool over others' eyes. I don't agree with that mentality. I disdain it. I've always said that there's more out there. I've provided real-life examples numerous times from the Soul Sword technique where it has given me the ability to equalize myself against superior forces. I love what we do, and a lot of people are going to ask, are you selling out? No, I'm not. I'm holding the course that I started, 5 years ago, and I'm evolving it. And with that, I'm going to say my last bit before I hand it back to you. People have asked me, is the Labyrinth ever coming back? My answer is yes, in bits and pieces. There will be Labyrinth segments. There will be shows. There will be explanations. I am not a silenced voice, but I've had a very big and very long year. And then the last thing I'll say, I know my lady friend is listening. I don't want to yell her name out loud, but sweetheart, I did mention you.
I thought I was sweetheart.
You are sweetheart, Justin.
Okay.
Don't you ever forget that.
I will not forget that. Yeah, as far as the Labyrinth goes, Charles and I have talked about collaboration, and we think that's probably the best road to take because there's no schedules and things like that tied in. Our door is always open to Charles, simply because he is a man of integrity, and what he says is useful to others out there who are looking for that path. I may not always understand what Charles is talking about, but I've listened in on a lot of shows, and I've always enjoyed listening to his take on stuff. So, Charles, thank you again. We appreciate it. Thank you for all you've done, and thanks for being the ear for me to come to when I break my computer or I can't figure out how to type KOA into a search engine or whatever. So I appreciate it.
I'm always there for you, brother.
So I was hoping that we could open up the phone lines and get some people's comments, questions, and stuff. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. I do want to give a very patient person who's been listening into the show for the last, hour and 52 minutes. Michael Hannigan, who does the Jedi Realist. I hope I didn't screw this up. I keep switching them. Jedi Realist podcast over here at Blog Talk Radio. I know you've seen some of his videos, his little cheeky videos where he's poking fun at me sometimes. But Michael, I wanted to give you an opportunity to plug your show real quick and to reward you for your patience and bravery and whatever else.
I have been loving this episode. I got to be honest. All right? I got to say a couple of quick things before I even plug myself. Dude, you know you're a badass when your name's Justin because, you break your foot, you put it back into place, rub some snow on it, take some Advil, like, yeah, I'm going back to work. That's exactly what I heard. And not to mention the fact of, yeah, it's a little bit chilly. It's 22 degrees. Dude, when it's 22 degrees, my butt is under my electric blanket hoping for spring. So I have to say that because I just thought it was hilarious.
Well, that's actually not.
That,
That's actually not far from the truth because they kept trying to give me IVs for painkillers and stuff, and I'm like, I'm good. Don't put that needle anywhere near me. I'll just meditate my way through this.
But you can put your foot back into place. Come on, dude. Half of us would be crying like little girls. Saying, "Oh God, please don't touch it. It hurts." You're like, "No, I'm Justin." Okay, I'm good. But
all right.
Aside from
Shameless plug.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Blog Talk Radio. And I still love KOA, and you guys are still one of my favorite networks. But if you guys are interested in the Jedi part of it, which I know KOA is kind of going away from, check out Jedi Realist Radio on Blog Talk. I am funny enough doing an episode in about 3 hours. I haven't quite got my topic down yet, but I'm doing a quick reflections, 2-minute episode. Yeah, Jedi Realist Radio, check it out. Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, you probably noticed that page getting blasted at like 50 places at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's definitely me. But seriously, again, welcome back to Blog Talk. I am looking forward to seeing Ali's stuff. I'm hoping to see Chuck, on KOA episodes, every now and again, calling in or doing like special Labyrinth episodes. I think that'd be a kick-ass idea for you guys. I had to plug that part too.
All right, so look for random plugs for Michael's show over at the main KOA page as well. Mike, thank you. Thanks for listening today. I appreciate it. And I just wanted to give you an opportunity because Charles blessed us with an extra couple minutes that gave you an opportunity to plug it. So keep doing what you do.
I'm sorry about that. I sent Charles the message. I'm like, dude, tell Justin that Blog Talk will cut you off immediately. But then again, I was actually working out for the first half of today's episode, so it was actually kind of fun. I didn't have music. I had you guys. But I'm out. Thank you for giving me the chance, and I'll talk to you guys shortly.
All right. Thanks again. All right. So Today we talked with Derek Thompson, Alethea Thompson, no relation. I got to keep saying that because she always says it when she types things next to Derek's name. And Charles McBride, who talked to us a little bit about PapaHood Sorcery. We also talked about parts 1 through 4 for the Road to Recovery and New Beginnings. Don't forget that once I get this uploaded onto YouTube, for those of you who couldn't catch us live today, I will add in that bonus the bonus part of the interview that I had with Derek relating to or concerning rather Ashla, or I keep wanting to call it Jedi Flow, Ashla Saber Flow, and I kind of put him on the spot during the interview, but he was a trooper and he answered it because it's a question I get a lot, and like I said, we kind of tease him about it all the time. I want to thank Allie, Charles, and Derek for spending some time with me today. I also want to thank all of you who are listening out there live with us today, or right now, and I also would like to thank those who will catch this episode later. If you want to know how to get a hold of us, the links are in the show description here for all things KOA. There's also links to Allie's work. There'll be links for Michael's work, Derek's work, and Charles's work there also. I love you all very much, and I want to thank you again for joining us. And until next time, awaken the night within.